What's up, everybody? Welcome back to our second interview of the day. We will be interviewing Eddie Tarrant. I think that's how you pronounce it. What's up, everybody? Welcome back. And Eddie is a 16-year-old youth athlete in kettlebell sport. And he has made some pretty tremendous achievements thus far in his journey, and I would like to discuss these things with him. Youth development in kettlebell sport. What's it been like for his journey? We've had I put a little thumbnail on Instagram and tagged him in it, and we've gotten quite a few people to add some questions. So we'll be taking a look at that. So yeah, if everybody just hangs tight, I'm sure he'll be on here soon. And for anyone watching, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the live chat on YouTube. Should be a fun little conversation. He's logging on now. Super excited for this one.
You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. How's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Eddie, my name is Dana Zorns. Thank you for doing this interview with me. I was super stoked. Just recently, I decided I was going to start reaching out to people in kettlebell sport, coaches, athletes, and things like that, and asking them if they wanted to do an interview. And you were one of the first people that popped in my head because I have been following your journey since I started in kettlebell sport a little more than 2 years ago. And
Okay, yeah.
seeing your accomplishments and your achievements at such a young age, it has sparked you're a big inspiration for me. I'm 38 years old. Uh, you know, so yeah, I mean, this is one of the main reasons I saw your 32 kg 5-minute snatch. That was about a month ago, right?
Yeah,
Killer set, dude. That was a great set.
thanks. Took a lot of training to get to that point.
I bet. I bet. So, Eddie, I would like to talk to you. We can jump right into it, get into your background. Um, when did you start kettlebell sport? When were you introduced to kettlebells? When did you get into the sport? And how's
Yeah,
that been then?
I started in 2018 because my mum had a personal trainer who showed her kettlebell sport, and then she came home and showed me and my brother, and my dad had access to some 2 kilo kettlebells from his
Mm-hmm.
workshop, and started lifting those, and then my first competition was like a 5 minute grassroots competition. Like in the UK, we have a league called Grassroots League. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like 5 minute lifts. And I think I was on double twos
Nice.
for that one. Which, yeah, it's been a big step up from there.
Uh-huh. So what did you do? Jerks with double
All
twos?
of them, all of them. Yeah. So grassroots is. 5 minutes of each lift. So you do
Oh, okay.
5 minutes of jerks, 5 minutes of snatch, 5 minutes of long cycle. Depends how many people are at the competition, like rest between them. Like more people there are, the bigger rest you get between them. But the
Uh-huh.
last one I was at, there were I think 9 people, and it was like half an hour rest between each one. So I was pretty
Really?
cooked after that one. Yeah,
Wow. Nice. And fast forward to now, you're a three-time, world champ with the 15 and under.
yeah, yeah.
What were your lifts there?
So 2022 was a half marathon, 16 kilo one on long cycle.
Hmm.
Um, like at that point, I'd only really been doing the sort of the like IKMF style lift, so the marathon stuff, pentathlon stuff, only a small bit of GS lifting. So that was 2022 was the half marathon. 2023, I got into GS lifting after seeing lots of stuff of like Vasilev and Ukrainians and Russians.
Hmm.
Um, so 2023, it was WKSF, um, 16 kilo biathlon and long cycle.
Hmm.
I think it was 103 long cycles, 152 jerks, and 190 snatch. And
Nice.
2024 is on 16s again, but it's the reps, but also the weight category.
Hmm. Very cool.
Yeah, and then this year I missed it because I had big exams, so I couldn't go
Okay.
to the one in Milan.
Yeah.
But I'm making up for it by going to the IUKL ones in 2 weeks.
And you're
So
headed
yeah,
there? You're headed there?
yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I was going to ask, how do you balance? Because at your level of lifting now, you have got to be putting in a lot of training and a lot of work. How
Yeah,
how are you balancing school, kettlebell sport, and just being a regular 16-year-old, kid doing kid stuff? How are you balancing everything?
yeah. So I'm at college now, which is like 16 to 18 years old. It's not like university, but it's high school or something, 16 to 18 years old. And
Okay.
I'm only in for like 2 or 3 hours every day. So like
Oh.
there's lots of sort of personal private study, which means like I have a lot of time this year and next year to like train sort of when I want, like in the mornings or the evenings or anything like that.
Hmm.
The last few years, like the school I was at, it's 5 hours a day of lessons, and I just train after school.
Hmm.
So like for an hour and a half, say, and then yeah, do my homework, eat my dinner, and that was that for like the last few years. Just train, sleep, go to school, and then repeat.
Yes. So you lived that eat, sleep, train, repeat for real in real life.
Yeah, yeah,
Nice.
yeah. Sometimes not sleeping too much. If I'm out
Mhm.
late or whatever, but
Yeah.
yeah, I tried to like minimize that when I'm leading up to a competition.
Yeah. Uh-huh. That would make sense. Leading up to a competition, so you got IUKL coming up in a couple of weeks. What's your training cycle look like? Are you doing all three lifts? At what weight? What do you got going on there?
Yeah, so biathlon and long cycle, all on 24s for under 18s. I mean, I'm still 16, so I could by UKL, I should still be on 16 kilos, but I've got to the limit of what sort of the judges will allow in terms of the speed, the rep pace, like how long I can fixate overhead. Like last year, I did 200 jerks, and I don't know any judges will allow me to go quicker than 20 RPM for jerks. So
I
decided
remember
to
seeing
step
that.
up.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had to step up this year to 24s. Um, yeah, I've got big goals, rep targets.
Mm-hmm.
So 100 long cycles, my goal, and 150 jerks, and then snatch. I'll just see what pace I'm allowed to go at. Like I sort of have a infinite pace for 24 kilo snatch, 10 minutes. Like I can go as quick as sort of fixation allows. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm not too bothered about hitting numbers in snatch because I've already hit 240, and I don't think it's possible to go quicker than that.
Yeah. 24 reps a minute is pretty fast. I think
Yeah.
I think Dennis Vasilev did 265 for the Rogue Challenge last year.
Yeah, yeah,
which
yeah,
is pretty insane seeing that kind of
yeah.
pace. But yeah, so you're competing in WKSF and IUKL, right?
This will be my first time for IUKL. I was
Okay,
supposed to
so you
go to
haven't been to the IUKL competitions yet.
I was
Okay.
supposed to go to the European Championships in May, but I got really, really, really sick.
Hmm.
Yeah, I was swimming in a river like a week or no, the week before. I was
Uh-huh.
swimming in a pretty muddy river, lots of
Yeah.
diseases and whatever in it.
Hmm.
So yeah, I got super sick and I couldn't go to that one. But making up for it by going to this one.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, sounds like you learned a hard lesson there.
Yeah, don't go swimming in rivers, dunking your head under, playing about too much before a competition.
Right. What what have been some of the biggest challenges that you've faced uh in your journey until now?
I'd say like sticking to the plan, sticking to the program. I get I get ill quite a lot, and like when you get ill and you have to dial back your training, it's hard to sort of come back from that sometimes.
Hmm.
You're leading up to a competition, I'm like a bit like nervous, like have I trained hard enough? Like will this illness
Hmm.
decrease my performance for the competition? But like no, I just have to stick to the plan, do as best as I can, recover from the illness, and I can still do well, even if I've like weeks easier during the prep.
Hmm. What who 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 have you had as a coach like when you first started, and who are you working with now? Are you working solo or are you working with someone?
Yeah, so at the start, sort of mum was mostly teaching me
Hmm.
the moves. Um, I've never really had a coach, to be honest,
Hmm.
myself. Um, yeah, I read Dennis Vasilev books and watched lots of his YouTube videos. So that's where I got some of my ideas from. But I'm also got quite a keen interest in sports science and things like that. So I've always sort of been able to do that myself. I mean,
Hmm.
I had a coach maybe at a bit of a faster process, but yeah, it is what it is. I've done it myself, got here without a coach.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say you're pretty high speed, doing it how you're doing it. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, it's pretty good. So when you started with marathon lifts and pentathlon. Do
yeah,
you have any interest in revisiting pentathlon and maybe
yeah. So
doing MSWC and stuff like that?
yeah, so the last few years there's been a competition in the UK, the UK Pentathlon Open,
Hmm.
but this year it's not happened. I don't know why, and I don't think it's going to happen again. So in the UK we're sort of limited for pentathlon competitions
Really?
until IKMF comes here. I think they're going to Scotland next year for
Hmm.
Wells or something, but
Yeah.
yeah, there aren't too many pentathlon competitions in the UK, so yeah, it's not. I'll go where the competitions go. Like if there's more competitions in one discipline, then that's what I'm going to be aiming
Yep.
for, if that makes sense. Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah, I think IKMF is doing part one in New York this upcoming year in
yeah,
2026. But they're
yeah,
they're going to have double pentathlon, and then the one in Scotland is going to have all your single pent and all that good stuff.
yeah. I've never done a double pen. Sounds like good fun though. I think I'd be all
Uh,
right at it.
I think it would be a good time. So we got to get you out. Would you consider coming out to America for the All American Kettlebell Open? We're trying to grow the pentathlon in that event.
What sort of time of year is that?
We usually do it in October. So this year it's
Okay, yeah.
next week. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, yeah, maybe not this year, but in
Yeah.
the future for sure. Like, I have to go to America, do a tour, go
Hmm.
to go to Dennis in California and go to all the clubs and do a few competitions. That sounds like fun, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We bring him out to the All American every year. So
Okay, yeah, yeah.
we had Valerie out last year, Valerie Fedorenko,
Yeah,
and he couldn't make it this year. Excuse me. He couldn't make it this year. He had some personal stuff come up, but he'll be back on track for next year.
yeah, I'd love to go there.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to bring out Gareth Malloy.
Yeah, yeah. I've lifted
Yeah,
next to him pentathlon. Yeah,
yeah, we'll have some uh big names coming out for pentathlon if we can get everybody on board.
yeah. I'll have to get training for that.
Yeah. Uh, so you mentioned Dennis. Is there anyone else who have been major influences on your kettlebell journey?
Um, a mixture, to be honest. Other than Dennis, like he sort of put out the most information about programming and things like that for free.
Hmm.
So I've yeah, he's sort of the main person, but like sometimes I watch videos of just like best lifters getting crazy numbers on the 32s. I'm just like trying to copy their technique every time I train. I think
Hmm.
that's one of the things which is like made my technique improve is just watching loads and loads and loads of lifting from elite lifters or
Yeah.
copying their technique. Like people say, oh, you probably shouldn't copy the technique exactly, but I mean, it's worked for me a little bit, like taking bits from different techniques,
Yeah.
the rhythm, the timing, that kind of
Right.
thing.
So I put a thumbnail on Instagram, and I asked people if they wanted to ask you questions, just put them in the comments, and we got a few. You mind if I
Yeah,
spit them
yeah.
off? Uh, a friend of mine, his name's Ian Galligan. He wants to ask, how did you get and maintain your overhead mobility?
Um, Honestly, it came quite quickly. Like me at the moment, I'm not doing any mobility work for my shoulders
Mhm.
at all. Like, I can overhead position without any discomfort. Like, don't really see the point doing extra work if I can already hit positions in a
Mhm.
comfortable way.
Mhm.
But in the past, there is a drill that like I've done that improves my overhead position, and that's like you can really start like just like stood up or whatever. You arms over your head, lean forward, and like move back your arms as far as you can go. You can do all this stuff. It like
Oh.
activates your shoulders and like
Mhm.
you're sort of actively in that position rather than
Mhm.
stretching your lat or something. Like actively holding that position.
Yep.
And I've built up to like doing it lying on the floor with like weights like 2.5 kilo,
Mhm.
um, 5 kilo as well, plates where you're like this, lying on your front on the floor and just like
Yeah.
that.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's one that I've done in the past. But
Mhm.
yeah, honestly, at the moment, I'm not doing any mobility work, which
So we
not
can we could probably say because you're 16, I had a conversation with Steve Gordon a little earlier today, and we
yeah,
were talking about neuroplasticity in youth athletes. So we can just chalk it up to the fact that you're so limber because you're so young. You know,
yeah, yeah,
you haven't quite damaged your joints and put your body through the ringer like most of us old cats have.
yeah. That's definitely the biggest factor, I'd say.
Yeah, that's good. So, given your experience, what is for a kettlebell sport athlete, what's the best approach, or we won't say the best, but what's a good approach for them to approach their programming without burning out?
Yeah, so that's a good question. In terms of like kettlebell training frequency, 2 to 3 times a week is like what I'd say. That's what I've always done.
Mhm.
Sometimes I've done like 1 day on, 1 day off. So you end up doing sort of 3.5 a week.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, if you're leading up to a competition, you should definitely be doing three rather than two, though. And like the sort of off days where you're not in kettlebells, I'm doing those like zone two cardio. It's super important, especially like early in the season. Building your aerobic base is so like super important. Like, you build up to doing over 5 hours a week of easy cardio. It helps so much. Like build your aerobic base.
Okay. So, what are you doing? what types of exercises are you using to build your conditioning, your aerobic base?
Um, Running like once or twice a week.
Mm-hmm.
Um, for the like longer aerobic endurance stuff, like an hour plus, I'd be on the bike, like
Mm-hmm.
cycling, the indoor or outdoor roads. So yeah, building up to like 2 hour stints at zone 2 on the bike, that can be pretty good for your aerobic base, things like that. Bits of swimming and rowing as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've spent lots of time on the rower, just like an easy pace. Like I do my kettlebell training, and then afterwards I'd on the rower for 45 minutes, something like that, like an easy pace.
Nice. So, are you doing anything specific to like interval style conditioning work other than kettlebells?
Um, Not really.
Okay.
It's something I've thought about, but like I think it's just not enough. You can quite easily go over the top, overboard. Like if you're, say, doing running intervals as well as, or like whatever, intervals, plus your kettlebell training intervals, that's probably an easy way to burn out. I think
Okay.
with kettlebells, you can reach the limit of high intensity training. Like in going doing more than that probably isn't worth it. But like in the off season and like early in the season, you can probably get away with doing higher intensity stuff that's not kettlebells. Definitely something I've thought about.
Mm-hmm. All right. What type of during your programming, your training cycle, how much are you relying on workouts that aren't kettlebell based, like deadlifts, pull-ups, calisthenics, barbell work, dumbbells? Are you doing any types of training?
Yeah, it depends on the season, like
Okay.
how I periodize my training. So like leading up to a comp, I'd never do a workout where it starts with strength training or like other like GPP or whatever. I'd
Mm-hmm.
always save it for after kettlebell training.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of like standalone workouts. So say like Monday you're doing kettlebells, Wednesday you're doing kettlebells. The Tuesday, like if you do strength training, I find it just burns you out way too much. For the other days, like if you're doing back to back intensity, it can like you. Um, yeah,
So it would probably make sense to have your other GPP style training to be like your off season or not during the training cycle itself. Or if you do
yeah,
have it in the training cycle, maybe at a very minimum.
yeah. And after your like kettlebell session is done, so do your kettlebell intervals or main sets. And you
Hmm.
finish off with some like squat that thing. And like deadlift, squats, like all of those sorts of main strength exercises. Um, yeah, you have to do that sort of, let's say, your main training cycle being up to competition. You should be there doing strength training, full body, like hinge, squat, push, pull.
Hmm. What types of, so within the past 2 years, I would say, this is from the outside looking in, I've seen you go from 16, working with 16s to, I mean, now you're snatching 32s and you're, jerking 26s and maybe even 28s. But what what have you done to specifically work on that strength to get so much momentum very quickly the way you have?
Yeah, so in the past, I've done some like strength blocks, hypertrophy blocks. Um, that's probably what's given me the main strength as well. Also, genetics, I'd say, plays quite a big part in how strong you are. Like at this
Mhm.
sort of age, like 15-year-olds don't really have much strength. They're quite skinny, and some others have like already just man, they're already like buff.
Yeah. What's nutrition? How's the nutrition play a role in what you do?
Yeah, lots of carbs, lots of protein as well. Like
Mhm.
I think I figured out it's like 5,000 calories what I'm eating a day.
Five thousand
Yeah,
calories a day is what you're eating?
yeah. Like to grow and because I'm quite active as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Break down for me a day of eating. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I mean, you're 5,000 calories. You got to be eating 6 times a day. That's bodybuilder status there, bud.
Yeah. Breakfast is usually just a massive bowl of porridge oats, nuts, maple syrup, um, big bowl of fruit. Um, Lunch is like eggs or like chicken and rice or chicken and pasta. And then
Mm-hmm.
dinner's like, yeah, massive portion of rice usually with some
Mm-hmm.
chicken on top. That's usually, yeah. Yeah, when I say a big portion of rice, I mean just a volcano, basically.
Nice. Are you putting gravies or anything like that on there, or is there just, chicken seasoned chicken with your salt and peppered rice?
Not plain, yeah. Some like curry or sweet
Mm-hmm.
chili sauce, satay sauce. That's all. Yeah.
Okay. Nice. So 5,000 calories a day, and that's during the training cycle. Do you ramp it up at all when you're a week out from competition, or are you just eating the same?
Honestly, I'm like eating the same because like the start of the training cycle, the training volume's still high. It's just you're not at the max weight yet. You're still lifting for a similar amount of minutes at a similar intensity. So like you're probably not burning as much. You're not burning two different amount of calories from the start to like close to the competition. So yeah, I usually just eat a similar amount like
Okay.
all year basically.
Yeah. All right. So, and days leading in, like 1 or 2 days prior to competition, are you upping the carbs or you pretty much staying
Yeah,
the
well, I think if I upped the carbs, I'd probably it'd probably come out so the wrong end. So
same? I hear that.
yeah, but yeah, for sure you need to get your carbs in like the night before,
Mm-hmm.
or the day before, your like main competition. It's an interesting one this year for me in Poland because I'm lifting on 3 days. Like day one's jerks, day two snatch, day three long cycle. So yeah, the nutrition will play a massive part in that. Sleep as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sleep is going to be a big thing for that.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I've quite a good sleep set up at home, like flat bed, ventilated room. Like it all helps so much in your performance if you can sleep really, really, really well.
Mm-hmm. Are you, have you taken on any students? Are you coaching now as well, or are you still just focused on your athletic endeavors?
I have technically I just have one client that I coach like general fitness stuff too. So yeah, I coached her to a like indoor rowing marathon. I also I'm programming for my dad at the moment because he's going to Poland as well. I'm doing 32 kilo snatch.
He's doing 32 kilo snatch.
Yeah, so he got me to write him a program for that.
Nice.
Yeah, I program as well.
So can you give me any details about this program that you've written? What kind of, are you gradually progressing him through the volume and through the weights?
Yeah, don't know why, but he only started like picking up kettlebell 6 weeks before the
Oh,
competition. I was like, he's only been doing like barbell and strength work for that, and I was like, you have to be doing the kettlebell stuff as well.
yeah.
But yeah, the last 6 weeks, um, I think he sort of started on the 24s, now he's on the 32 and swinging the 40. But yeah, you need that weight ramp up progression, like um the sort of Vasilev style. He
Mm-hmm.
does it quite dramatically, like from a really, really lightweight going super, super fast to the 32s, like last all 6 weeks of the training cycle.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like it's rooted in that, I guess, the way I program. Like I try and have the last 4 to 6 weeks on competition weight,
Mm-hmm.
doing your hard pace, comp intensity or higher interval sets 3 times a week.
Nice. That's good. how do you define your success, or how do you define success in kettlebell sport beyond the medals and the rankings? So what do
Um,
you think is means success?
I'd say like you impress yourself beyond what you were sort of hoping you'd get. Um, or like, it always depends on what happens leading up to a competition. Like, if you get ill in the last week and you hit exactly the numbers which you thought you would, I'd still count that as a success, even if you've not like exceeded what you'd get. Still success. It's like, yeah, it just depends on the situation and the scenario, I guess.
Nice. All right. I'm firing these questions at you, man, and you're doing a great job
Keep
with
them
answering.
going.
All right, we got some more questions on the Instagram page. Um, from Chris Denning. I don't know if you know who he is. Master Denning is his tagline.
Yeah,
He he said kettlebell sport runs in your family. He said, given that it runs in the family, he's assuming that's what got you interested in kettlebells. And I believe you answered that. Your mom brought home a set of twos, right?
yeah,
So he wants to know what your goals are, um, specific goals you want to hit rather than be world champ.
yeah. I think the sort of rep standards are more definitive goals than like medals, I'd say, because
Mhm.
obviously it depends on the competition, it depends on who's there, etc. So, um, yeah, definitely want to get to the elite level on the 32s, just be able to hold myself well against the top people in the sport. So, like maybe one day 100 reps long cycle on the 32s would be pretty cool.
That's an admirable
150 jerks would be nice, and then 240 snatch, which I think would be some sort of world record. But
240 snaps would be insane.
yeah, I mean, what I'm going to do is every year I get 240 reps on 2 kilos heavier. So
Uh-huh.
like this year, I could maybe do the 26, and then yeah, next year maybe the 28, then the 30, then maybe the 32 if I can get to that level.
It's insane that you've already done 122 reps in 5 minutes with the 32. So
Yeah,
I honestly do not doubt that this goal will be seen by you. That's
thanks.
awesome.
Yeah.
So he has a list. Chris Denning, he put a list of them up here. He wants to know long cycle or snatch. Favorite, which one?
I find snatch sets easier. I think long cycle, it's more taxing on your body, like the
Mhm.
strength. You're just, it's such a explosive movement. Like every single rep, it's much more out of you than snatch. Snatch, I'd say, is more like running or cardio. Like, mm, it's a higher pace. I can get through the set without too much pain. Whereas long cycle, it's just on from start to finish. You can't pain hands at all. So yeah, I'd say long cycle's harder, but um, oh yeah, maybe I prefer snatch. Yeah.
Mhm. And you spoke earlier about when you first started, you started in marathons and pentathlon. Uh, Chris would like to know if you have any interest in going back and pursuing anything in marathon.
Um, Not for the moment. Um, but maybe in off seasons, doing some half marathon stuff. But yeah, the pentathlon, I'd only really train for that if I had a competition I was going to that was full pentathlon.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, half marathon stuff for sure. I will probably come back to in the following years.
Okay. Chris would also like to know, how do you find the discipline to train alongside everything else required to compete, especially when most people your age are pretty much assing around, goofing off, and not taking anything too serious?
Um, In what sense? Discipline? Like, what do you mean? Like,
So your consistency, you've obviously, shown great consistency, like within the last few years of doing kettlebells. How are you finding that consistency? How are you telling yourself, okay, I'm going to train instead of go outside and play?
yeah, I think it's because I feel so much better if I trained and if I don't. Like, if I even if I have a rest day, like I still at the end of the rest day I don't feel as good. Like,
Mhm.
I don't know if you have the same feeling where like
Oh, absolutely.
if you train really well, you just feel really good about yourself, more relaxed the rest of the day.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's sort of what keeps me going. I'm like, if I don't train this morning, then like, yeah, I'm not going to feel too good later. And then every day, I guess it'd be worse. I don't know if it's healthy though, 'cause it's sort of an addiction to training. But
It is, but I think it's one of it's a healthier addiction than boozing at 16. It's or smoking or doing any of the other crap that could be done. So
yeah,
I think you're on the right track, man. And I would really like to know, how do you think being so disciplined now in kettlebells, how do you think this is going to help you, or how do you think it has helped you in your regular everyday life? And how do you think it's going to help you further down the line in life?
I think most things in life for me stem from training. Like, if I'm training consistently and well, uh, and I have a goal, then it seeps into everything else in life for me. So like with studying and things like that, it definitely helps that like schedule, routine, like training and things like that. It for sure helps with everything routine based.
Yes, I agree. I think for me, training brings me sort of like a calm mind. And
Yeah,
it sort of relates to what you just said, where you just, when you train, you just feel more peaceful the rest of the day. You feel more relaxed the rest of the day. I think for me it does that. It helps me, simmer this old noggin down.
yeah, yeah.
So in your area, do they have kettlebell sport, or do they do kettlebell sport in schools or anything like that, or is this just
No, no one's even heard of it.
really?
I don't think I found anyone that even has heard of it before.
Mhm.
Yeah, there definitely isn't where I live in England. We're
Yeah,
like the only people really within a big area that are doing it.
right. Do you have any other friends around your age that have wanted to try it because of you, or
Yeah, yeah. I've shown some of my friends before.
okay?
Got two of my mates to go head to head in a little snatch battle, 5 minutes on the
Yeah,
16. One of them got 85, and then it was the other one's go, and he managed to get 86 in the last second. I
nice.
think, yeah, they enjoyed that little lesson, teaching them the kettlebells.
Uh-huh. Have they taken to
Look,
it pretty well? Have they like, do they
I
train
think they're
regularly now?
well. They've only done it once, but I think they'll probably come back again for
Yeah,
another battle between them.
I think you should keep them coming back, man. Like, look. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you think kettlebell sports should be introduced to schools, or do you think it should be introduced more in schools, and maybe like a regular school um, endeavor like football or baseball or something like that?
Yeah. Honestly, kettlebells is like super cool. It would be really awesome to see intra-school competitions. Um, I think it's sort of a bit hopeful at the moment to see that, but maybe it's something in the future that could happen. At the rate it's growing at the moment, I don't know if it will become a sport that we do in schools. Um, but that would be super cool, honestly. I, I'd love to see that kind of thing.
How do you think we can change how we present kettlebell sport to the world, so maybe it does catch more traction with guys your age?
Um, I think it is difficult to do just because it is such a grueling sport. Like you have to be able to push yourself really hard to do well in it. Um, yeah, I think getting it out on social media is one thing. Because that's where most people my age probably spend their time looking at. So
Mhm.
like, yeah, social media would probably help. Um, yeah, I mean, if people are the sort of entertainment aspect of it, like if you're watching a like kettlebell competition and you've never seen the sport before, you're probably gonna get bored within a few minutes. Probably not know what's going on at all. You don't even know like why they're moving like that or anything.
Mhm.
So yeah, if there's something that can be done to like make it more entertaining for people, then they'd want to get involved. But like, yeah, I don't. Uh, I think the way it is at the moment, it's not a mainstream sport, and I think for a sport to go mainstream, it takes so much. Like it probably have to replace another major sport to be introduced as one.
Okay. Yeah. If you had, if you could give advice to some youths, to the younger generation of, who were thinking about kettlebell sport, what would you say it has done for you and how it can be done for them?
Yeah, it's kind of changed my life a bit because it's like it's so ingrained in like who I am now. It's like every day I'm just constantly thinking about it for the last like few years. Yeah. But yeah, having something to focus on, like competition goals, next year I know there's this competition, the year after I'm looking I know I can get to these reps with this goal. Um, yeah, it's like super motivating. Um, it's something different from like the main sports in England. So like yeah, we have rugby and football, soccer, and yeah, I think it's definitely something different. And like if there's a team aspect to it, I think that could definitely make it like a sociable team aspect to it. I think that could definitely increase popularity. But yeah, for younger people, I'd say like it's super important to not go up the weight really, really quickly. Like if you just start out on the 24s, you're definitely gonna get injured. You have to spend lots of time to accumulate lots of volume on lighter bells to get the technique down, build the strength so that when you move up, you don't get injured.
Nice. That's really good advice. Would you like to see a dedicated youth athlete, a youth league to do you think that would be a good starting point to maybe start introducing, the sport to schools and maybe try to start getting integrated into schools? I like what you said about intra-school competitions. Uh, just recently, well, last year, I've been on this little personal mission to try to introduce kettlebell sport to local schools in my area, local high schools. So you said earlier you were in college at 16, and then you kind of related it to high school. So sort of what you're in now, high school, right? Um, you know, I've I've met with some school board people and trying to get and that was kind of like my idea to create like clubs within each school, like a team for each school, and then they compete amongst themselves, and then send a team for like a sort of like a state championship, kind of how like baseball and football and the soccer leagues do. I thought that would be a really good idea.
Yeah, I think
Um,
they already have a similar system in Russia.
mm-hmm,
Like I think Denis Vasilev, I think one of the first times he sort of was introduced to Wales was because he was like for a school team. They had to have a school team and go and compete
mm-hmm.
what championships it was. Um, yeah,
Yeah, Dennis. when I first had this idea, I reached out to Dennis for some help, and he agreed to help. We're going to use his books for the curriculum. So he's actually in the development stages of a technique handbook. His other book that he has out is pretty much the theory of programming and things like that, but he doesn't dive into like the technical aspects of each of the lifts, and that's what he's working on now. So pretty much his books will be the curriculum that we'll use for these schools, right? We'll introduce his curriculum, his methodology, because I mean, it's proven. The guy
Yeah,
is an absolute unit. So, you know, yeah. So he's been on board kind of helping me out with that kind of stuff. So hopefully we can get something going over here, man.
yeah. I think it's definitely possible. Yeah, I mean, if it's been done before, um, yeah, there's probably lots of boys my age or whatever that like a good competition who can lift the
Mhm.
most weight or whatever. It's
Right.
just like, yeah, maybe it's like a safer way of doing it, like a bench press competition with your mates. Do you know what I mean?
Hmm. Yeah.
It's like maybe we could the popularity of bench press, like make get close to that level.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool.
Who can do more long cycles?
Yeah, that's what I want to hear.
Yeah. Yeah. Who can out snatch who? Right. What would you say to the parents? Like your parents introduced you to kettlebells. How did they do it? But what advice would you give to parents on certain ways they can introduce kettlebells to their kids?
Yeah, I mean, start light, but don't be afraid of the weights. Like maybe some parents are scared that their kids will get injured because they're like heavy weights or whatever. But
Hmm.
you're not going to get injured if you have the right technique, and that just comes with time and practice and accumulating lots of volume on the light weights. So yeah, I'd say like don't be afraid that they're going to get injured,
Yeah.
but then also make sure that they do have the technique and build up from light weights to begin with.
Hmm. Nice. When you first started competing, like at WKSF World Championships, walk me through that experience. Walk me through the very first one. Were you nervous? Were you like super excited? How was your sleep? Did you talk to a bunch of people? Did you watch everybody's lifts? Because, if you talk to a coach like Dennis, he'll say, or most coaches actually are now like pretty much saying, when you go to compete, don't spend too much time watching other people lift, because it draws your energy out, right?
Yeah.
What was your experience like?
Um, I don't remember too many of the specifics now because I was a few years younger.
Uh-huh.
Um, but yeah, I do remember talking to lots of lifters from around the world, Joe Daniels, lots of
Mhm.
the Aussie lifters as well. Um, but yeah, I see what Dennis is saying. Like, if you spend all the time at the competition, you can probably get tired just from talking to so many people. Like, it's quite a intense. It can be sometimes like quite intense watching all the lifting. When
Mhm.
every time you watch someone on the platform reach the limit, like it sort of takes a small bit out of you as well. Like seeing someone go to that extreme, like it hits you a little bit as well.
Mhm. When you did 200 jerks, what was the reaction from your peers and other lifters? Were they like just astounded that you had did such a number?
Yeah, it was quite nice. Lots of compliments and things like that for the lifting.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah.
If you could say one thing to the kettlebell community about youth athletes, what would it be?
Um, that's a difficult question. Um, maybe like don't get too carried away if a certain like junior youth lifter um is like lifting really heavy weights, like don't encourage it too much. Like you should be more encouraging like the like high reps kind of work. Like if you can do one rep of jerks for a certain weight, like it doesn't really matter. That's not really what kettlebell sport is about. It's more
Mhm.
about who can do more reps on the same weight than like, oh, this junior athlete has done a jerk on this weight. Like, yeah, but how many can they do on like the weight? You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, kettlebell sport is a lot different than Olympic weightlifting.
Yeah,
Sort of like the same lifts, but just different because it's sub-maximal load. Whereas Olympic weightlifting, you're trying to hit 1 rep maxes. And in kettlebell sport, we're trying to achieve maximum reps with sub-maximal load, right?
yeah, they're completely different sports. I mean, kettlebell sport is an endurance sport, so
Mm.
it's backed up by an aerobic base. I mean, obviously, strength is a huge component, but like you have an aerobic base and you can use the correct technique, most efficient, then you're going to be doing really well. Like there are some lifters that don't have any sort of meat on their bones, but they can still put out crazy numbers
Mm-hmm.
just
Yeah.
having the correct technique.
Yeah. See, some of these guys are like, I mean, kind of small, right? Small in
Yeah,
stature, but like cranking out enormous, numbers as far as like reps go with heavy weight.
yeah. I think that's also what's so good about the sport is it's like sports you have to go to the extreme of your body. Like if you become a power lifter, you're not going to be able to run a 5K very fast, are you? Like, or if you become a long distance runner, like how much weight you actually lift, like for sport, I'd say is the right medium between those two.
Yeah. So Chris Denning was on the YouTube channel and he wanted to I'm pretty sure he probably heard you talking about your nutrition. He was like he wanted to know what your nutrition looked like. Chris, he's hitting 5,000 calories a day. A lot of rice, a lot of pasta and tons of oats, tons of chicken, right?
Yeah.
That is insane. Insane. Eddie, I really appreciate you being so enthusiastic about wanting to do the interview.
No, it's been a pleasure.
I wasn't sure, how people would receive it, but so far everybody's kind of been really enthusiastic and trying to find the time to get in on an interview, get in
Yeah.
on some kettlebell talk, and I really enjoy it myself. I've enjoyed watching your journey, and like I told you earlier, it's not weird for me to say because you're a kind of an inspiration even to me. Watching you do so well, it makes me want to work a little harder. So I really appreciate your time today. And if there was, you know, is there anything that you want to tell the people what you got coming up, what long-term goals are?
Um, I'd say like one message to people would be like that consistency is more important than the intensity that you train at. Like you're training in day after day, week after week, year after year is more important than smashing a crazy workout and then having to recover for a week. So yeah, I'd say consistency, like building up slowly over time. Um, you will get to the weights that you want to lift if you're patient and you go up slowly. That's what I'd say. For the future, though, I'd say I'm just gonna adding more weight, more reps, seeing how far I can get. Hopefully, I can end up on the 32s, getting good numbers. That would be nice.
Nice. Eddie, I'm super stoked to see you lift in a couple of weeks at the IUKL World Championships.
Yeah, I'm looking
I think you're
forward
going
to
to
it.
do amazing. Um, Again, thank you so much for for hopping on the platform with me. And
No, it's been a pleasure.
I know you're
Thanks
going
for
to do
having
well,
me.
buddy. Keep up the outstanding work. Keep inspiring, because you got a lot of people watching, man.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. All right, man. I'll talk to you. We'll have to do this again sometime. All right.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe
Maybe
in a year's time.
maybe right after the competition, I can get you back on here, and you can that way the experience is still fresh in the mind, and you can
Yeah,
tell me all about
yeah. Just let me know.
it. Absolutely. All right, Eddie. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you.
Yep. Talk.